playing Monopoly. So he'd sit down and we'd play Monopoly. And after about 3 or 4 days of this, he said, I thought you were going to teach me about money. He says, I am. I said, what? I am. He said, what's the Monopoly? How many people have played Monopoly? Good, thank you. It's one of the best formulas in the world. There's many formulas. Like this says here. There's millions of paths to financial heaven and a million paths to hell. So I said, why is Monopoly a good game? He says, very simple. 4 green houses, red hotel. 4 green houses, red hotel. That's all. Is that all I have to do? He goes, yes. And then Rich Dad took me out. This is in Hilo, Hawaii. Not much, wasn't much there. There was a plantation, bank, car dealership, and stores. And Rich Dad had this huge tract of land. And what he would do was, this is right after World War II, so he had what we call Quonset houses, little metal houses. He bought from the military and put them out there. And so he had these large fields with little green houses. And I'm going, so what are these? He says, someday, these little green tin shacks will be our red hotel. Someday, so you can see the future. So one of the reasons I'm glad you're here is I want you to have you start thinking about a different future than working for money. Because our money is corrupt. The rand, I can't believe it. It keeps coming down. Okay? So I'm going, holy mackerel. And I'm going to say, then by the time I left for school, I flunked out of high school twice because I can't write. And people think my father got me out of there. No, it wasn't. I just hated school. I just hated it. And I flunked out English my sophomore year, 15, and I flunked it at 17. And but I still I went to military school. So my poor dad said to me, he says, you're stupid, you're flunking out of school, I'm not going to pay for your education, so you can't afford to anyway, you know. And so finally I applied to my consul, U.S. Senator Daniel K. Inouye. If you fly into Hawaii, that airport is called Senator Inouye Airport. But he was the man that gave me congressional nominations, the United States Naval Academy, United States Merchant Marine Academy. And I took U.S. Merchant Marine Academy because I really wanted to go there. But in 1965, when I left for school in New York, graduates were making about $120,000 a year. So in 1965, that was a lot of money. Today it's not much, but making a lot of money in those days. So that's why I took Kings Point too. But that's kind of my background. So my education is military education. And that made all the difference in the world because growing up in Hawaii, I was a surfer kid. I had no discipline. No discipline. And that's why I was flunking out of school and having all these problems. So going to military school, they shaped me up really quickly. And then when I graduated in '69, I got that $120,000 a year job. But the Vietnam War was still on. And my conscience got to me. Because the hippies back then, how many people old enough to remember the hippies and all the war protests, all that stuff? Not too many. It was terrible. The hippies were jumping in the streets, saying, oh, we're the love generation and all this stuff. And my sisters were all part of the hippie, doing drugs and all that. I don't do drugs. And pretty square. So I come back, I got this high-paying job. Poor dad's proud of me. You're making a lot of money. I said, yes, but the war is still on, Dad. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to go fight. And so I quit the high-paying job. I joined the U.S. Marine Corps. And I got paid $200 a month to learn to fly helicopter gunships in Vietnam. And so although I went from a lot of money to no money, fighting in Vietnam was one of the best things that ever happened to me. I went down 3 times. My most important job as a Marine lieutenant bring my men home alive. So I went over with 16 men, and these guys are only 18, 19 years old. And we're flying gunships up there, and gunners are shooting this way, and bullets are coming up at us. Went down 3 times, but I got all 16 of my men home alive. That was my most important job. Thank you. Very kind of you, thank you. Where's Charles? So what's going on right now in the Ukraine and Israel and Hamas? It's terrible. I just don't take sides in that. It's terrible. So anyway, where was I going with all this? So I come back from Vietnam. The first thing that happened to me, the aircraft was taxiing in. It's all of us, there were 300 of us in the plane, all returning to Vietnam. It was January 10th, 1972. We get off the plane, and the first thing, eggs start hitting us. And we got spit on. So the hippies were hitting us with eggs and spitting on us and all this. And I go marching in, I turn to my men, and we got shit hanging on us. I turned to my men and I said, gentlemen, this is what we fought for. We fought for their freedom to spit on us. Got it. And that's a U.S. Marine. Just take it and move in. So anyway, I go to see my poor dad, and about 1974, I'm going to get out of the Marine Corps, a 6-year commitment. And I asked my poor dad, any advice for me? He says, oh yeah, you're a pilot. Why don't you get a job with the airlines? I'm a helicopter pilot. I don't want to fly for the airlines. He says, yeah, but then you go back to school and get your PhD. He hasn't rejected your PhD. He says, not as a pilot. So that's when I went downtown to Waikiki. I went to see my rich dad. By then he had the big hotel. He had kept his promise. He started with small houses. And if you go to Waikiki Beach today, you'll see the Hyatt Regency Hotel. The family owns all that land. So four greenhouses were at a hotel. They bought the land. And so I go to see my rich dad, and I said, what do you recommend I do? And he says, well, number one, he says, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to learn how to sell. Another problem. In my family, poor dad's family, salesmen were scum. Salesmen, academics don't think salesmen are honest people. So they say, my dad killed me again. He goes, no. He says, so I have to go home and tell my dad I'm going to be a salesman. That was the worst I could have said to my dad. You're going to be a crook, you're a con man, all salesmen lie and all this. Oh my God. Anyway, so that was the battle between my rich dad and my poor dad. And finally the turning point was, I have to decide, am I going back to University of Hawaii and get my PhD, and was I going to fly for United Airlines? Or was I going to become an entrepreneur? That was the question. And so I went back to my rich dad one more time, and I said, please, is there a way I can become rich as an entrepreneur without selling?
No.
It's the number one skill of an entrepreneur. Oh my God. Oh my God, I said, shoot, there's got to be a better way. And Rich Dad kept saying, now finally Rich Dad gave up. He says, Robert, I'm tired of you. You sound like a dad. A highly educated poor man. You think that salesmen are scum. You have no money. You have a college degree, but it means nothing. I said, yeah, but I don't want to learn how to sell. The truth is, I was afraid of rejection. And so he goes, finally, Rich Dad gave up. He says, Robert, damn it, how's your sex life? I said, 0. Because you can't sell. And so that's how it started. So the reason I'm saying all of this here is this. The purpose of these next couple of days is to have you challenge what you've been taught. Not that it's right or wrong, but it's challenging. Because if you don't change the way you think, you get the same thing. Does that make sense, you guys? The other thing is what skills do you need? So after I got a job with Xerox Corporation, I couldn't sell what they trained me to sell and all this, which is good. Because, you know, I had to do this all day. And when they said beat it, you know, I had to get past the rejection and all this, get my guts going in. I said, so what else do I have to learn? He says, you have to understand real estate. And I said, why? He says, because real estate's about debt. Okay, so I'm going, what? And what Rich Dad said to me is, the U.S. 1971 President Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. Let me say that again. In 1971, Nixon took the